Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Illa Geezy. I am your host, Illa Geezy. Today, I had a topic that came across my desk, and it was about how has your view on the streets changed since leaving prison? And that's a huge topic that sits with me deeply, simply because I was knee deep in the streets before my incarceration. After my incarceration, you pretty much won't find me in the streets, nor do I want you to find me in the streets. I don't want to be in the streets at all. Because I know one thing about the streets is you could be caught up at the wrong place at the wrong time. I still got partners out there. And nothing against what they doing because they didn't go through what I went through. You can't expect everybody to see things the way you see it when everybody didn't go through what you went through. I did 15 years in prison. 12 years, 85%. I did it. I stood on it. 10 toes. So my view on the streets is definitely a different one. You know how everybody's saying fuck the streets right now? It been fuck the streets for me because I see what it is and I know what it's worth. The streets, they always want to, the moral or codes that you live by, you know what I'm saying? Man, bro, the streets, it ain't fair. And you got to take every lick to the chin. And you got to take whatever come with it. A lot of people don't like rats. They don't like people who snitch on them. You got to take that. That's in the streets. Snitches are in the streets. You have to take what comes with that. You could be mad at them, but at the end of the day, you got to take what come with that. People will tell on you in the street. It ain't no way around it. My view on it is mainly the thing about change. I'm all about growth. I'm all about change. I'm all about not doing the same thing I was doing 20 years ago. I can't do that. I was in my 20s 20 years ago. I cannot just see myself being content with doing something that I was doing 20 years ago. And I know it ain't right. That's how I feel. I lost people to the prison system. And within the prison system, when I got in the prison system, I lost family members. It ain't sweet. It ain't nice. It ain't nothing about the streets that I can glorify. Nothing. We might have had fun when we was young, but it's nothing that I can glorify and say, yes, we did that. Only thing I can say something like that is you made it out the streets. You know what I'm saying? Successfully. I didn't successfully make it out the streets. It took me going through 15 years of prison, 85%. That's what got me out the streets. If you got out the streets and didn't have to do a lick of prison time and didn't have to really face the repercussions of the streets, then your view is a little different. Mine is a lot different. Just on the simple fact that it's no loyalty in the streets no matter what your homeboys say. I got some homeboys that I feel like is loyal to me, but when you see different examples of certain situations happening in the streets and certain people telling on certain people and just doing messed up things to certain individuals that they supposed to be friends with, that come along with the disloyalty that's in the streets, basically. I'm loyal, bro. I'm too loyal. I'm loyal to the core. I'm loyal to the core, man. So the streets ain't for me. The streets can never be for somebody who's that loyal. Because the streets don't love you back. Simple as that. They don't love you back. They'll cross you out at any moment. Believe that. They'll cross you out at any moment. So I try to preach to my YNs, my young brothers, that being in the street ain't cool. When you look at what's going on, and I know a lot of people like to look up to the rappers. It is what it is. But when you look at how selective they are with the politicking, very selective politics. Don't be on the wrong side of that. That's why it ain't good to be in the street. You can end up on the wrong side of that at any moment. And it just ain't sweet like you think it is. It just ain't. It's just not. I pray for every young brother in the streets, all the OGs as well, to get out the streets. It ain't easy to get out the streets. A lot of people trapped. A lot of people trapped, man, and comfortable. And once you get super comfortable with it, after such and such amount of years, bro, it's like that's all you know. You don't know nothing else. So it's either jail or the graveyard, or you gonna ride it out in the streets for as long as you can. Me myself, I made it away from the streets. I changed. I had to grow. We was robbing people, selling drugs, and I had the mindset of being down for whatever. That's not a good mindset. I had partners who was down for whatever. Is it good that they were down for whatever? Not necessarily. I wish nothing but the best to my brothers that's in the street. The main thing is to remember is get out. The goal is to get out the streets. Don't let your love for the bread or for whatever it is driving you keep you content. The goal is to get out the streets. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that. The goal is to get out, get away from the streets. We grew up in the streets. It's nothing to glorify. We want to get out the streets and be successful. But when you got to go to prison to get out the streets, that's a whole nother situation. And I just can't, I don't want to see nobody have to go to prison to get out of the streets, because of the simple fact that you don't know what you're going to get into when you get into prison. You don't know how that bid is going to play out for you. You could be the most gangsters guy in your hood, but when you go to prison, you ain't that. They don't recognize you as that. And you're going to respect the laws and the rules of the penitentiary system. Penitentiary rules is in effect. And when penitentiary rules in effect, you're going to respect it how it go. Now, you got some people who buck on it, buck on the penitentiary rules. But guess what? You ain't bigger than the program. You know what happens to them. They get smashed. Eventually, they get smashed. And when I say smash, I mean they get dealt with accordingly. Because they think they're bigger than the program. They think they can bring their immaturity from the streets to the prison. And it do not work like that. You got OGs back there. You got guys back there who live back there, who's not going home. And they refuse to let you mess up the living conditions that they have going on. I been a victim of that and had got checked early in the bid early in the bed. Uh, guys just let me know, like, no, bro, you can't just come around here thinking that you could just do whatever you want to do. No. Bro, we've been here before you. And there's more gangster guys than you. You ain't the biggest gangster. No. It's killers around here and they mature. And that's another thing about the prison system. The dudes with the rah-rah mouth, it's some that'll go. It's some that'll go. But the real dudes who will do something to you, they quiet. You gotta watch them. They're real quiet. And when it's time for them to go, they go. And they handle their business like a man. Man, I can go on and on, man. But the topic is how did my viewpoint of the streets change since I got out of prison? And honestly, I just don't be in the streets. I watch street activity. I have friends who are still in the streets. And I've encouraged them to do legit things. I've sent them legit situations that they can invest their bread into. But when you notice that they don't invest their bread into it, or that they don't ask any further questions about it, that shows you that they're happy where they are. They're content where they are. Or they just don't want to invest into something legit. So I encourage, but I can't force someone to, go legit. You just got to let some people live their life and see where it takes them, Support them no matter what. Support your friends, support your loved ones. As long as, they got your best interests at heart, make sure you have their best interests at heart, man. Support them. There's nothing wrong with supporting somebody that you don't agree with. It's not. I don't agree with what my friends do in the street all the time, but guess what? I support them. I support them. I really do. In all ventures, because you just never know how or when a person may make it out and become successful. And one thing I know about networks and connections and resources, you can use networking, connections, and resources later on in life, bro. You really can. You'll be surprised who will be in a position to help you later on in life. I got some things lined up starting the beginning of the year. Trying to do something called Motivational Mondays, where I come in and give motivation. Real Talk Tuesdays, I want to drop videos just talking about real topics, real situations, and just giving my thoughts, opinions about it. And yeah, man, you will see me more often than not in 2026. I'm so excited for this new journey. I'm so excited. I invested into it. I did everything that I was supposed to do. I've been home 18 months, probably 19 at this point. I don't know. I'm losing count. 2 years will be April. I'll be home 2 years in April. And that's a blessing. I'm so thankful for that. I'm so thankful. Like, I'm so thankful. Like, sometimes I fly off the handle, but I don't never put myself at risk of going to jail. Never. And won't. Because I've seen the worst of the worst back there. It ain't gonna get no better. I've seen it. I don't want no parts. I'm straight. I'm good. I'm clean. I'm legit. I'm gonna be like this. I'm gonna stay like this. So I'm doing whatever I gotta do to stay like this so that my children can be legit. This was another episode of Real Talk with Illa Geezy, episode 2. Like, comment, subscribe, tune into the channel. Drop comments down there about topics you want me to discuss. And yeah, thank y'all. Genuinely. Thank y'all for rocking with me.